Hola mis amigos and possible amigos, my name is Taff316. Welcome back to another episode of Reading Your Comments, episode 226. It's been a couple weeks since last Reading Your Comments, so this is a supersized one. We have 58 different comments in this one, so let's get into it. I did see Michael McIntyre years ago when he was starting out. It was good. I do agree Dave Gorman's really a fantastic storyteller. Ross Noble is also a good storyteller, but approaches it from a different perspective. If you want weird luxury comedy, was written by Noel Fielding from the Mighty Boosh. There's also a children's show. Luxury Comedy was written by Noel Fielding from the Mighty Boosh. I'm sorry, I read that incorrectly. Okay, I haven't heard of that, Luxury Comedy. I've seen the Mighty Boosh, though. There was also a children's show, Round the Twist, which I remember you reacted to one with the tree and the burping. Oh my god, I almost forgot about Round the Twist. That was like 2019, I think? Might have been the same year I did the Mighty Boosh, actually. That's still... I've seen like hundreds of different things at this point. That is still one of, if not the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I have two questions for you. Have you ever seen the CBBC show Shoebox Zoo from 2004? It was a fantastic show that ran for 2 series and was well written. It was a fantasy show. I recommend it if you haven't. I don't think I've even heard of it, so no, I haven't seen it. Second question, if you could recommission any of the programs you have watched which no longer air to have another series, which would you choose? This is kind of cheating because it's not officially over, but Line of Duty, because the ending to Series 6 was shockingly flat, and I kind of hope the show doesn't end that way. I'm politely asking for more Death in Paradise, Smoking Room, Stafflet's Flats, Chewing Gum. I would also ask for more New Tricks, My Hero, and Ghosts. So Death in Paradise episode 2 is on the request list, so that's going to happen. Smoking Room, Stafflet's Flats, and Chewing Gum, I don't know, but I'm completely open to it. New Tricks is going to be a monthly series starting this month, as I mentioned in the August plans. My Hero, I'm sure I'll do series 2 at some point here. I got a lot of series I want to do, though. And Ghosts, solid chance I do the Christmas special from 2020 this month. Traffic Cops is a TV show, but to be fair, it'd be more interesting if you did go outside and film your own Traffic Cops. It would probably be more interesting than the UK. Yeah, it would be. Not in a good way, but it would be. Sorry if somebody had said this. Originally, Chris and Craig were supposed to use their own voices during the body swap scene in Red Dwarf. However, while Chris is a professional impressionist, Craig could not pull off a convincing Rimmer, and so they went with the voice dubbing. The young Lister in Time Slides is Craig Charles' younger brother. Really? That's pretty cool. Also, the final episode was written to replace the intended season opener that covered Lister's pregnancy. Got you. Well, is there any footage of Barry's Lister impersonation? Because I'd like to hear that. I bet it was really good. It's interesting how Crichton develops over time. In this series, he's mostly still a servant and always letting Rimmer boss him around, such a different dynamic in later series. I mean, it's foreshadowed, like, arguably in his first episode where, Lister's telling him, he needs to build his own personality and his own friends. And I mean, he doesn't do it immediately, but I do like how he does progress to that over time. And it's almost like because technically Lister, you could argue because he's a servant, Lister saying that to him, he maybe took as a command and keeps it in the back of his mind. And over time, he works to that goal more and more of becoming his own person. I always found it funny if a Red Dwarf would establish a role and then completely break or ignore it. I know it frustrates people, but it never seemed to be too much of an issue to me. I understand both ways. On one hand, it can be frustrating, but on the other hand, it's a comedy show. Yeah, it's Red Dwarf, brother. I don't think the rules matter that all much. I always found the bit where Rimmer said to his younger self you'd write better if you took off the boxing gloves very funny. He was clearly told to wear those in bed to stop touching himself. That could have been it. That's not the way I took it, to be honest. I took it more darkly. I took it as like it was like some Full Metal Jacket shit where the other kids were beating him up in his sleep, so he wore the boxing gloves to defend himself. In a Time Slide episode of Red Dwarf, it's curious why there was a photograph of a bunch of young boys sleeping. Yeah, maybe the boarding school he was at was ran by the church. Now that you've seen Backwards, you should watch Backwards. That might just break my brain, but I might give it a go. I wonder if Hammond being picked for the Ashes to Ashes sketch instead of Clarkson was intentional. Hammond did spend 2 weeks in a coma in '06 following a high-speed car crash, so technically his appearance in Ashes to Ashes universe could be considered canon. Oh man, I need that full spin-off now. The canned laughter spoils the sports relief one on Ashes to Ashes. Yeah, I mean, it made it a bit weird, because, I mean, it does kind of take you out of the zone, because, I mean, that's not a show for canned laughter at all. So having it in there, it's kind of like, oh, okay, this isn't... It takes you out of, the I'm watching an Ashes to Ashes episode a bit, which maybe may have been the point, but, Long, long man was amazing. The way their saga played out had me fully on the edge of my seat. Please tell me there's a sequel where two guys end up getting married instead. I imagine that's implied. To my knowledge, there wasn't another series of ads, but if there was, there's money to be made. The Euro Club, the gift that truly takes the piss. That was the golf club that you piss into using the top. That's the dumbest thing I've ever. Do you expect you just piss in it and then continue golfing, or just piss in it and then empty it immediately? Because if it can't be that, because there'd be no point. But you're telling me that thing's secure enough that if you're swinging with a club full of your own piss, when you go on the backswing, that shit's secure enough that your piss wouldn't just drip onto you? I doubt that very much. Cars for Kids I only know because John Oliver, the sexiest man on Reddit, has talked about it. Maybe the most annoying American advert of all time. And that's really saying something, because that's a high bar, but it honestly might be. Tony Maudsley, who played Kenneth in Ben-Dorm, had an accident involving a patio door at his mom's house that caused him to lose his front teeth. Reverends give him false teeth before they got fixed. He decided to write it in the show. That's actually pretty brilliant, to be honest. I mean, it's fun when shows like that can work around real life instead of just covering it up or ignoring it. Just a little heads up, if you don't mind me saying, but there's a 2-year break in between filming for Season 5 and Season 6 of Ben-Dorm, so you might be shocked at how much the characters have changed come next month for Season 6, especially Michael. Oh yeah, I mean, he was like, what, 15 at the time? Oh man, that might be some... He might have had some Ben from Outnumbered aging. That might be interesting. I never get those that say Ben-Dorm was best at 1 through 3 and it went downhill, but I'm guessing most stopped after or during Series 4 and never given another chance, was a shame, but it happens a lot here in the UK where if a show has a bad period, it's incredibly hard to rebound in popularity. Many UK sitcoms stick to 2 to 4 seasons and quit while they're ahead. Yeah, that's fair enough. Again, I think Series 5 was great. I thought it was a tremendous rebound. Not that Series 4 was bad either. I don't even think Series 4 was bad. It was just with Series 4 they were just like kind of rebuilding a little bit, you know, and Series 5 was the results of that rebuilding. I don't know how 6 through 10 is going to go, but I am interested in seeing it. You need to look up Tommy Cooper? Okay, let's do that. Tommy Cooper. Oh, I've seen this. He was a guy that died on stage. Yeah, I've seen footage of that. He was like finishing... He was on live TV too, I think, and he was finishing his routine, and he like keeled over and died of a heart attack, and the whole crowd was laughing because they thought it was part of the bit, but in reality he fucking died. Jesus. Just want to add a little something. Now that you've done River City, will you do the River City crossover things with Scott Squad and Still Game that were done for Children in Need? Sure, I've been doing a lot of those specials recently, so I mean, yeah, I've seen all of them now, so sounds good to me. John Anderson is still going strong at 91, living in Glasgow. He still coaches athletes to this day, and he coaches Olympians at every Summer Olympics from 64 to 2000. Wow, he's still going nowadays. I respect the hell out of it, honestly. I mean, I'd be happy to be able to move at 91. I'd be happy to still be alive at 91. Watching this just reminds me how disappointing Gladiators remake was. Hopefully they don't make the same mistakes for the new remake. It needs a classic soundtrack and arena style. Crazy to think how the gap between this and Season 1 is in the same as to present day. Wait, crazy to think how the gap between this and Season 1 is the same as the present day. Okay, I get that. Had to reread that for a second there. But yeah, I mean, I only saw that special, so I can't judge it too harshly, but you could just tell, like, some aspects from the special. It felt more formulaic, you know, and didn't really feel like Gladiators. I mean, that might have been a point. They may have been trying to make it its own thing, but if you're gonna do that, don't use Gladiator's name, you know? Just call it, you know, assholes versus normal people or something. I don't know, but, like, it didn't work as well from what I saw. This series, New Gladiators, aired in 08 and 09. Nick Aldis joined TNA at the end of 2008. I imagine if the third series was made, he wouldn't have been on it. Yeah, he must have. Again, I was shocked at how small he was. Because, like, I always remember him being huge, like he is now. He must have, like, gotten on the juice as soon as he joined TNA. But it really surprises me that he wasn't on the juice during Gladiators, especially considering everybody in the old series was on the juice. Former member of the New Nexus, Mason Ryan, was also on the revived series of Gladiators. Ah, yes, Mason Ryan, the person people thought was going to be a big deal because he was huge and he kind of looked like Batista. Unfortunately, unlike Batista, he did not have a speck of charisma to speak of. So yeah, he didn't last very long. Jet from Gladiators recently married a woman. I saw that. I didn't even know she was gay, to be honest with you, but good for her. I'm not totally convinced that Helen even told Gordon and British Empire because I feel like he would have to tell Carol to be keeping in his character. You see, that makes sense, and I've seen so many comments saying like, oh, British didn't get told. But like at the end of series 2, if you watch it back, they make it pretty obvious that she told him. Like, it's very strongly implied with her asking to have a conversation and then with what he says after about, like, the British bloodline or whatever. It makes it pretty obvious that he was told. I honestly think initially he was told, and I think they retconned it because they got cold feet about it. There's always Mid-Morning Matters, this time with Alan Partridge, Alpha Papa, and various others like Scissor Dial, and the Partridge Mildred special if you want more Alan Partridge goodness. I think Scissor Dial might be on the request list. So yeah, I mean, fair enough. We got a lot more to do. I think it's deciding to do more sitcoms. A little disappointed Red Dwarf isn't so popular though. Well, not necessarily. So when I said I only have like 3 series that do well, Benidorm, Still Game, and Alan Partridge. I meant like regular series. Like series I do monthly. Those are the ones that do really well. Red Dwarf, I've done very does well. It does do well, but like stuff like Blackadder does well too, but I've done that very sparingly and very stop-start throughout the years. And Still Game was stop-start for a bit too, but it's not anymore. Maybe you're doing too much at once? Yeah, maybe I am, but such fun to watch alongside someone who's seeing this for the first time. I definitely think that can be a big appeal of reaction videos. If you've seen something and you like it and you want to see what somebody else thinks of it, I think you can chalk that up to one of the huge appeals of these kind of videos. If you love Still Game, you'll love Two Doors Down. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a comedy series following married couple Eric and Beth as they deal with difficult family members and suffer from neighbors dropping by their home. That is on the request list, so that's going to happen. I can't tell you when, but it's going to happen. Naveed was in Klansman when he stood on the table and sang when Mina came in and punched him in the balls. That episode was hard nuts. Okay, I saw that recently, too. I saw that, like, last month. I don't know why, because I couldn't remember a time Naveed was in the Klansman. But yeah, I don't know how I forgot that. Please watch Still Game: The Story So Far documentary before you get into the new seasons. Features interviews with actors and celebrities. I initially wasn't going to do the documentary, but a lot of people seem to want me to see it, so I guess I will. Michelle Holmes left Goodnight Sweetheart and was replaced with Emma Amos when she decided Yvonne was underused and had no scope for character development, while Darla Kirwan left to concentrate on Ballykiss Angel, and her friend Elizabeth Carling was her own recommendation as a replacement Phoebe. I don't know if I agree with Michelle Holmes or not about Yvonne having no scope for character development. Well, maybe. I wouldn't say underused at all. But I mean, that almost sounds like an excuse. Like maybe she didn't want to put in the work to help the character development of the character. Yeah, not to try to call her out, but you know, the shoe fits. And also, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the shoe fits. But again, I will say they did I think as best as they could with the recasting, getting 2 actresses that look as similar as you can to the other actresses. So, I mean, they did a great job of that. That word is a pork meatball here in the UK to look on your face during the Phoebe line. Yeah, I'm never going to get used to that word. Like, I've heard it a bunch of times and I know what that context is, but I'm still not going to be able to get used to it. Also, if any of you are planning on traveling to America in the future, for the love of God, don't talk about meatballs, because you'll get your ass kicked. Oh, by the way, speaking of American remakes to British shows you reacted to, the pilot of the American version of Space has been uploaded to YouTube. Worth checking out. I actually downloaded that, because I had heard about that too. Somebody saw, either somebody in my stream saw your comment, or somebody else figured it out. But yeah, I have the copy of that, and might do it in the future just to see how terrible it is. I always thought both actresses were good recasts in Goodnight Sweetheart, but I prefer the first Phoebe and the second Yvonne. You know, so far I agree with you, actually. I agree with you to this point. I feel like I haven't seen enough of the second Yvonne yet, but I do like the vibe she brings to the character. I want a series that follows Ron from Goodnight Sweetheart. He's the main character in my eyes. He's you could argue he's objectively the best character. Like, he's not objectively the best person, but with the amount of shit he has to put up with, I'd say he is the best character. You might as well jump straight into Series 5, A Good Night, Sweetheart, and Overtake BX Kids. Series 5 is a lot better than Series 4, by the way. I imagine it is, just because they're finding their footing with the new act. They found their footing with the new actresses now, and now Gary's got a kid, too, so, I mean, Jesus Christ, I wouldn't be surprised if things ramp up. How much more of the actual Benidorm series will you be watching? All of it? It's a monthly series until I complete it, so I don't have any indication that I'd stop. That Benidorm special was fun. Normally can't stand British Got Talent or any Simon Cowell shows. Agreed. Kenny Ireland died between the filming of Series 5 and, or Series 6 and 7. I don't know when this was filmed. Okay, so he is in Series 6 then, but that'll be his last series. Damn, that's gonna be an interesting note though going forward, the show without him. Ian and Paul did commentary for the best of Have I Got News For You DVD, and they laughed out loud when they saw Angus's hair in this episode. I'll tell you what, like, a lot of people noticed this, or pointed this out in the comments, but, like, he looks like Nicholas Lindstrom with that haircut. Kate Saunders appeared in the Season 2 opener of Only Fools called Long Legs of the Law. I don't think I've seen that one. I'm not sure if I've seen any episode from Season 2, but I'm sure I'll circle back. Idea for a Have I Got News For You episode from Wikipedia. Merton took a break during the 11th series in '96, saying he'd become very tired of the show and thought he'd become stuck in a rut. In his absence, his role was assigned to celebrity guests, with Merton himself returning as a guest on Hislop's team. Oh, he was a guest on, so they were on the same team. Actually, that sounds great. I wonder if I can find that episode. I'll have to look that one up. I know she seemed to be running some form of aircon. Yeah, you can kind of see the green screen moving in the back. I've been hearing it's been very hot summer in America this year. It's been usually warm and dry winter here in Australia. Yeah, it's not... So, where I'm at specifically, we haven't gotten it as bad. But, although, in fact, we're about to get, like... Apparently, some parts of the desert, maybe close to me, are about to get 3 years worth of rain in about 3 days because of Hurricane Hillary. I guess that's what we get for not voting her in as president. No, I'm just kidding. But she set the hurricane after his brothers. But yeah, I initially was not running a window fan, but I was just like fucking dying from the heat, so I put it in, and I was like, my stream, can you guys hear this in the background? And they said no. I'm like, okay, cool, I'm keeping it on, and I have done since. Bud Dwyer was the politician you're thinking of that shot himself? Yeah, don't look that up, by the way, unless you can handle, especially if you can't handle, like, actual gore, but he was, like, politician, I think in the 80s, he had, like, it was either an affair, or he had, like, money laundering something, and he was doing a press conference about it, and during the press conference, he pulled a gun out on live TV, shot himself in the fucking head. It's not footage I want to see again, but it's also footage I can't forget. Please do more Gimme Gimme Gimme. Maybe watch the entire second series, only 6 episodes, 3 hours. Yes, just that's only 3 hours. But yeah, I'll definitely go back to Gimme Gimme Gimme. I don't think I'll do the whole series at once, but I'll definitely go back to it. Sorry this weekly live episode was a dud in terms of getting a new show. What's about a different Charlie Brooker show dead set? Assuming you're already familiar with Big Brother format. Must have been a recommendation a million times before, sorry. In fact, it's on the request list. It's on the list, actually recently. It was requested like last week, I think, so it's gonna happen. I can't tell you when, but I can tell you it's gonna happen. As someone with back pain is well played by a Steve in Line Duty, there are times where you go to sit up, get up, and suddenly moving becomes exhausted and stays hurting like a bitch. The surge of pain, hammer to your spine, steals your breath, and you're just sitting there panting just like Steve. It kind of hurt to watch a couple times. As someone who had spinal fusion surgery and has 4 metal rods holding his spine straight, I can concur. The reason why the Doctor appears in Sarah Jane but never in Torchwood, according to the BBC, is they didn't want to encourage younger Doctor Who viewers to see Torchwood and get the parental complaints. I think it's kind of stupid. By connecting Doctor Who, you're encouraging that anyway. But I guess a YouTube clip with the Doctor meets Torchwood or something might get kids interested in Torchwood or something. Also, the Beagle that caused Turn Left, the one where Doctor died and everything went wrong. Something about a trickster, which is cool. Yeah, I remember hearing about that. But that is a stupid reason. I mean, first of all, it's a Doctor Who show. I don't care if it's adult or not. It's literally in the universe. It's a Doctor Who show, and they talk about the Doctor all the time. Jack had his fucking hand in the first series, so he was there in a sense, you know? Yeah, that sounds like a dumb reason. We've been watching Series 4 Ghosts. It's another great one, and the final series is coming soon. Again, I'll probably be doing that Christmas special this month, and then sometime after I will be doing Series 4, and then the other Christmas special, and then Series 5, yeah. Martha being married to Mickey is even stranger when you consider she was engaged to Thomas Mulligan in the Sontar two-parter in the middle of Series 4, and she only first met Mickey at the end of Series 4. Yeah, and during fucking Torchwood, there was a whole arc where, like, her whole point was to get back to her fiance. Like, and it was still implied that it was that same guy she was engaged to. I guess you could retcon it and say that, oh, the person she was implying was Mickey, but like, why retcon this person who she was engaged to, clearly, you know, had feeling towards? You dumped him for Mickey? For fucking Mickey? The person who has less game than a tuna sandwich? Like, really? It's just like that instance. It's a shame too, for a show that was so well written, especially in the 4th series, that they incorporated that lazy of writing. Because it literally seemed like they just threw two characters together so that they could have an excuse to get them both done with the goodbyes at the same time, rather than having to write another scene. That seems like the whole point. It's just fucking lazy. What's the plan now, Doctor Who? Continuity-wise, Series 5 comes next, but you want me to do Torchwood first to break it up a bit? I don't think I need to break it up a bit at all. I mean, especially considering there's a new Doctor now, it'll probably feel like a whole new show. So yeah, Series 5 will be next. They did seriously ask Obama to appear in the Doctor Who episode, but he declined. Busy, I guess. Yeah, what an asshole. I mean, who does he think he is? The president? And despite all of this and How TV Ruined Your Life, Charlie has since gotten married to a Blue Peter presenter and has had at least 2 children. Well, hopefully that episode doesn't come back to haunt him. Man, Blind Date is some quality cringe cheese. I would see it occasionally when growing up. It's pretty harmless. I'd never heard of this, so still I completely roasted her live on stage. Yeah, that woman deserved it. What an asshole. And I'll tell you what, Scylla was the best part of the show. Like, it was all really cringe, but she's hilarious and helped break it up a lot. So, I mean, she's by far the best part of the show. Like, if I were to watch more of that show, it would be for her. I felt bad for Paul, but even more for Nicola's fiance on Blind Date. That depends. It depends on if he was in on it or not. Because if he knew, then fuck him too. If he didn't, then yeah, that's fucked up. These people must cringe when they watch Blind Date back now, except maybe I read that there was at least one couple that got married. They probably watch it back fondly, but the rest probably cringe, yeah. Alright, y'all, that's gonna do it for this mega edition of Reading Your Comments. The comments in this video were pulled from the following videos. You ready? Reading Your Comments 225, Red Dwarf Complete 3rd Series, Ashes Charity Specials, Curse Commercials 2, Benidorm 34 and 35, River City, UK Gladiators The Legends Return, British Empire 20 and 21, I'm Alan Partridge 7, Still Game 40, 41, 42, 43, Goodnight Sweetheart 4th Series, Benidorm's Got Talent, Have I Got News for You 11, Charlie Brooker's Weekly Wipe 5, Line of Duty Series 6, Sarah Jane Adventure Series 3, Doctor Who The Final 10th Doctor Specials, How TV Ruined Your Life 4, and Blind Date. I did not pull comments from Who Dares Wins because it was a re-upload. And I did not pull comments from the Goes Wrong show because I do not have enough yet at the time of recording this. I'll probably use that for next week. So if you want a chance to get your comment read in next week's episode of Reading Comments, the videos to comment on are as follows. This video, the Goes Wrong show episode I just mentioned, that came out yesterday. Actually, that came out 2 days ago. The reaction that came out yesterday, which was Top of the Pops, and the reactions that come out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Those are the videos to comment on if you want a chance to get your comment read in next week's episode of Reading Your Comments. But that is it for me today. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like. If you didn't like it, don't. If you want to follow any of my social media links, they're all in the video description down below, as well as names of all my Patrons. If you didn't know, you can be a Patreon of me for as little as $1 or £1, and you get access to reaction videos, as well as Reading Comments up to early, sometimes more. With all that being said, though, my name is Tafford Steams. It's been my episode 226 of Reading Your Comments, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.